Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Elitist Geek. In this video, I want to do a review on Etrian Untold 2, The Fafnir Knight. I touched on this game a couple of weeks ago when we looked at the Etrian Odyssey series as a whole, and when we did an unboxing of Etrian Untold 2. And I promised at that time I would do a follow-up video with a review on this game, and that's exactly what I'm here to do. I'm going to start off by saying, yes, the game lives up to expectations. Do I love the game? Absolutely. And here's why. As with Untold 1, the Untold series, and I'm assuming the third game when it comes out is going to do the same, offer a new mode of gameplay. And that's called Story Mode. Story Mode doesn't let you basically create a full party. You create one or two characters of the party, and then you find the remaining characters organically throughout the storyline as NPCs who then join you. Classic Mode is, well, it's basically the classic mode. Just as the name implies, it allows you to create characters individually. You can create your full party and go dungeon crawling right away. What I really like about Untold 2 compared to Untold 1 is you no longer have to pick or choose. That frickin' drove me nuts. And what I mean by that is you had to pick whether you were going to do story mode or whether you were going to do classic mode because you only had one game save slot. In this reboot, and I do call it a reboot because it adds significant new technology to the old one, so it's more than just a remake. This one has multiple save slots. In fact, I think I'm using 4 or 5, and there's more. Not only do you have multiple save slots, but it embeds a title on each save indicating whether it's story or classic mode. So you don't got to worry, am I accidentally overwriting? It's very easy to tell them apart, which is absolutely fantastic. And again, this is a remake slash reboot of Etrian Odyssey 2, Heroes of Legaard. But honestly, having played this now, if I was to go back, I can safely say that the original is going to just stay on the shelf. Heroes of Legaard, there's nothing in the game that I feel isn't either included in this sequel or remake reboot or simply just better in this version. And for the most part, stuff is just better, which is great. Graphically, story-wise, etc. What is really cool, and I'm not going to give a lot away, is the plot. Untold 1 was, it had a story mode, yes, but it was pretty simplistic. And not to say that this isn't cliche-riddled. It is, and unfortunately most stories have already been told. You escorting a princess who is bound by duty to perform a sacred ritual. And at first glance, I'd have to agree. Yes, it's very cliched. But dig a little deeper, and two of the characters in particular, and more on that later, really start to endear themselves to you and make this more than just a cliched story. Highly recommend you have a save of each. If you're just hell-bent on only playing classic mode, fair enough. Or just story mode. But do yourself a favor, because it's just a matter of an extra save slot. Try the other mode of what you're normally accustomed to. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Each has their own advantages. Classic mode for its ability to let you try all kinds of cool character combinations. And story mode, well, for the story, right? Now, as with all the Etrian games, you can expect about 40 hours of gameplay. If you are a perfectionist, completionist like me, you could probably bring that total 60 to 80 hours plus easily, because there's a lot to do in this game, and that's another thing I love about the Etrian series. Same combat system as before, but, and this is again why I use the term reboot, as opposed to static bitmap monsters that you're fighting, you are fighting polygons with significant detail that are animated. And that's quite the difference from the previous titles where they were just static bitmaps. Nothing wrong with that. I still like that. But they were more in line with Wizardry, which was kind of the 1981 dungeon crawler that started it all. And this one says, look, yes, we're turn-based, but being turn-based doesn't mean we have to be super primitive. And the graphics do a great job of conveying that. There's also the Grimoire Stones that are back, but what I really like this time with the Grimoire Stones is rather than just provide you with an ability, like an extra ability, you can do pretty cool things. You can give classes that normally can't use an ability the ability to do that. So for example, a sorcerer class that only casts offensive magic can now suddenly be your secondary healer. Or you can enhance an existing power. For example, a Grimoire Stone that enhances healing can be given to a healer to effectively double his healing capability, which is really freaking cool. So say you've got 5 out of 10 skill points on a given healing skill. With a Grimoire Stone, you may be able to do a 10 skill cast, which is amazing. You're doing 3rd level heals that normally you wouldn't be able to do until your 6th, 7th, or 8th level. And that's a pretty nifty system. So it adds a lot to the strategy of the game, determining how you're going to set up your combats, right? Initiative, for example. You've got a slow healer. You're going to be at a disadvantage compared to a party makeup with your healer being the character with the fastest initiative, because generally you're going to want to do preventative maintenance healing, right? Or you want to be able to heal a guy quickly because he's at death's door at the beginning of a round. That's huge. And the characters that I was talking about or mentioning earlier are Chloe and Bertrand, and that's all I'm going to say. But these two really salvage an otherwise cliche plot and add a lot of life to the game. So definitely, folks, if you see this game used, and expect it to start showing up, whether it's GameStop if you're in the States, or Electronics Boutique here in Canada, or Willow Video, your local game store, like I have, do yourself a favor, and if you like dungeon crawlers, you like your games either linear or non-linear, there's a little bit of everything in here for you. It is a fantastic game. I admit that I'm biased because I love dungeon crawlers and I love Etrian Odyssey, but really, other than a few negatives, it is a fantastic game, and it definitely lives up to the hype. Certainly my hype in my previous videos. I'm totally pleased. It's bang for the buck. It's meaty. Tons of items. Tons of weapons. Tons of armor. And you guys know I love itemization, and this game does not fall short in that department. You've got a basic crafting system with the cooking system that I talked about, where you can cook meals that are very World of Warcraft like. So for example, stat boosters, right? Ability boosting meals. Fantastic. And there's also a little mini game even embedded where if the dungeon crawling and grinding gets a little stale, the cooking opens up a whole segment where you're managing like a restaurant. So I know that doesn't necessarily sound appealing depending on your take, but trust me, it's a fun diversion from the main gameplay. It's absolutely not mandatory, but it does add a lot to the replay and initial gameplay value of Etrian Untold 2, the Fafnir Knight. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Like this video if you like the review. If you didn't like it, fair enough. Do me a favor, let me know why. And again, I can wholeheartedly recommend this game. If you catch it used or new, grab it. As always, guys, till next time, cheers.